Welcome to Gary Kaler Stadium, everybody, for Week 4 of the high school football season. Michael Lenier alongside Chris Witzel, where the Westfield Blue Devils are fresh off of an impressive performance Friday night, 23-7 victory over the Franklin Warriors. And Chris, what's going to be the keys today for this Blue Devil team to get the state-long win number 29 in a row?
Mike, it's got to be their defense. I spoke to Jake Val earlier today, and he said that the defensive line has to win the line of scrimmage. Him, McGovern, everyone else on that line has got to make sure they get through the offensive line. And also these Westfield defensive backs, they're going up against quarterback Connor James, who on the season only has 1 touchdown compared to 8 interceptions, where a quarterback does not want to be. So these defensive backs have a pretty easy day ahead of them.
And this Westfield offenses look pretty good the past couple weeks, Chris, especially the sophomore running back Tim Allegro coming off of a career performance with 190 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns, a performance he's not going to forget. But the quarterback and the passing game hasn't been what we're used to with Phil Martini in the past few years. Hank Shapiro, what do you want to see from the young sophomore this afternoon?
Mike, I just want to see him relax out there. It's his 4th game of the season. I just want to see him calm down and just hit his wide receivers, just get the passing game going. We saw last week hit Smith a couple of times, and week 2 against Basking Ridge, you saw him air it out to Stevie Barden, and I was very surprised by that, and I'm hoping to see a lot of that more today.
Westfield and Watchung Hills 3-0, 0-3 coming up here on BDTV. Running back Wandre House, the senior, is back from his injury, so we'll see how Coach Sarno utilizes the Gettysburg commit. Coming up on BDTV. Welcome to Gary Kaler Stadium, everybody, for Week 4. As we are just about set to get underway here in Westfield, the Blue Devils wearing blue jerseys, blue helmets, white pants, taking on the Watchung Hills Warriors as the sophomore kicker Will Kessler sends this ball off to get Week 4 underway, and the kickoff goes out of bounds. So the Warriors will come out with some good field position to start off this game. And Chris, these two teams headed in complete opposite directions. The Blue Devils off to a perfect 3-0 start on their 28-game win streak with wins over Franklin Ridge and Linden. And Watchung Hills 0-3 in 3 blowouts. They've been on the losing end with Union, Elizabeth, and most recently last week at North Hunterdon.
Yeah, Mike, they're just not getting off to a good season, and a big part of it is because of their quarterback, Connor James. We talked a lot about it in the pregame interview. It's just this season, 1 touchdown compared to 8 interceptions. You can't, with a quarterback with those numbers, you can't lead a team to a pretty good season.
A run up the middle for the first play for the Warriors. Not much room to go there. That Westfield defense, as you mentioned in the pregame, Chris, has been spectacular all season long. Led by Jake Valabera up front and Drew Ortiz on that linebacking core.
Yeah, Mike, they were absolutely fantastic the past 3 weeks and basically the season. And it's because of how deep they go into this defense with their cornerbacks to linebackers to D-line. Everywhere on this defense is a big issue. And
James drops back for his first passing attempt of the game, incomplete, to bring up 3rd and long.
And Mike, that for Connor James this season, he is 31% right there, probably drops down to 30. And he's just not having a really good senior campaign this season. As I said before, 30% passing completions, an average of 14.2 yards a pass, and just not, and 0.3 touchdowns a game. Just not what you want to do as a quarterback.
3rd and 9 for the Watchung Hills Warriors. Run up the middle, and there's a hole and a big gain for the running back, Jake Taub. Just a sophomore, and it's good enough for the first down.
Yeah, Mike Taub right there just finds a good enough hole and gets the first down for Watchung. But, Westfield, we've seen it all time this season. They mostly give up the touchdown early in the game, except last week against Franklin, gave it up in the 3rd quarter. But, as this defense, they learn from the mistakes against Basking Ridge, let up an early touchdown, bounce back, and shut them out rest of the game. Against Linden, basically their defense didn't give up a touchdown, special teams, and were just absolutely phenomenal.
Another run for Taub, and he is quickly brought down. Drew Ortiz amongst a couple other Blue Devils in there on the stop, along with Shea Elliott. Brings up 2nd and 8. Some skill players to watch out for, Chris, for these Warriors. At halfback, along with Jack Taub, is the senior back we remember from last year, Xavier Thorne, along with Tobb's older brother, Jonathan Tobb, the senior, number 6, playing wide receiver, and Michael Asante, the junior, the senior, also at wide receiver.
It's a pretty young team for Watchung.
And a big stop right there from Joe Sangiacomo in the backfield for a loss.
Could earn himself another post-game interview with that hit, Mike. Last week got one, and right there, we said last week how he came back without the club, and right there just gets through the line of scrimmage. Beautiful hit by Sangiacomo. It's 3rd and long here for Watchung.
Third and 11 here with 9.5 to go in quarter number 1. 2 receivers on the far side for the Warriors. James rolling to his right. And nowhere to go. Incomplete to bring up 4th down. So Watchung Hills able to pick up 1 first down, but that's about it, as they'll have to punt on their opening possession.
And Mike, sophomore tight end Colin Free was actually in there at defensive end on that play. Probably can see him going both ways next year and senior year as well.
Emmett Smith, the junior, back to receive the punt for Westfield. And Chris, he really excelled last week with kickoff and punt returns.
Yeah, Mike, we saw last week how he let it bounce in front of him. The defender came running past it, and he just got it, went up the field, got an extra 20 yards, just a heads-up punt return. And also just a free one, just take to himself another great return. So flag's blown on the play.
Brian Pusio, the senior punter for the Warriors, same punter as last season.
Mike, another penalty against Westfield's defenders. We've been talking about it all season. I'm not sure if it's because of Westfield or not, but every single time they play someone, penalties have become a huge factor. And Linden, again, first game of the season, Linden had 13 penalties for 129 yards. And Westfield won that game by 5 points, and that was probably a huge factor of them winning. But also last week against Franklin, too, a lot of penalties.
So here's the punt from Pusio. McDaniel might have got a fingertip on that one, and Emmett Smith from the 30 out to the 38-yard line. A nice job of Smith really holding on to that football. Yeah. 3 Watchung Hills defenders had their mind set on stripping that.
And yeah, Mike, number 5, James Tyler was getting in there. You could see him tugging at the football, but Emmett Smith just holding on to it for basically dear life right there. And gets Westfield decent field position at their own 40-yard line, where Watchung Hills started at theirs. And now quarterback Hank Shapiro and running back Tim Allegro. And Mike and Tim Allegro, we talked about in the pregame interview, just has an absolute great start to this season.
So opening drive for the Westfield Blue Devils, Tim Allegro up the middle, and he is stuffed by the senior, the older Todd brother, Jonathan, in the backfield. And Chris, this is a very physical and chippy Warrior team. If we remember from last year on the opening play of the game, the linebacker just came up and drilled.
I don't even think it was a linebacker. It might have been a safety. He got a good 10, 12-yard head start on that one.
Here's a screen pass completed on the far side. Emmett Smith near the 45-yard line. Smith is brought down. So 3rd and 5 coming up for Westfield.
And Mike,
as Obsgarden checks off the field, Matt McIntyre, the junior, comes in.
And Mike, earlier this season, Watchung played Union, and it was a very physical game as 3 Union players got ejected in that game. And you just talked about how Watchung, very chippy team, probably a lot of jogging back and forth between the two teams. But Westfield last year, they went into that game thinking it was going to be a trap game, but as soon as McCauley got hit, they had a reason to go out there and just put it on him as Jason Cassick comes up incomplete with the pass attempt, and that'll force Westfield to punt.
Good deflection right there from the Watchung Hills cornerback. So the Blue Devils go 3 and out. And we mentioned, Chris, earlier that senior running back Wandre House, who started week 1 against Linden, had a nice game, about 70 yards, almost found the end zone. Yep. And he's missed the past 2 weeks with the lower leg injury, but he is back. He's healthy. As Kessler just gets that punt off, but it is a beauty of a punt. Inside the 10, but the ball rolls too fast for the senior Adam McDaniel to down. So an incredible punt for Kessler, but Westfield not able to take advantage as it'll be a touchback.
Yeah, I think McDaniel got a little confused of where that ball was going to land since he's not looking directly at it but running with it. And yeah, but if he could just get there a little bit earlier and get better position, probably could have down Watchung at their own 1 yard line. And Westfield already has one safety on this season, and they have been doing a pretty good job of getting through this offensive line. We saw before Joe Sangiacomo and Colafrier rushing the quarterback, Connor James. Probably going to see another one.
Yeah, last week against Franklin, Noah Levy, the junior, making his first big play in his varsity career with the block punt. Went behind the end zone for a safety. And Westfield only had a 2-point lead last week. Another run up the middle for Taub. Excuse me. David DeGisi, the sophomore running back, getting the carry for Watchung Hills.
And you know, Mike, this season, Watchung, they have a lot of people running the ball, including their starting quarterback, Connor James, but also a lot others, couple juniors, couple sophomores, but mostly seniors. But that's probably because, you know, blowout games probably going to want to put in your players who will be starting next year just to get them some reps.
James, play action, in trouble, and he is sacked. It's Rory McGovern, the team leader in sacks for the Blue Devils, picking up his fourth and a half sack of the year.
Yeah, Mike, he's just been absolutely phenomenal. Him and Valabera at that left side of the defensive line, it's just impossible to stop them because you either have to guard Jake Val, probably the best all-around athlete on this team, leaving McGovern wide open to get there, or when you see that McGovern's getting it done, you block him. But what are you going to do about Val? He just comes up, and we saw last week, Val threw Antonio Scott to the ground to end the game. And it's just this defensive line, it's so lethal and why it's one of the best in the state.
3rd and 10 after the sack from McGovern. Penalty was declined. And going back to the run game for Watchung Hills, Chris, their quarterback, Connor James, he's actually the team leader in rushing yards with only 65 yards. Also has 1 rushing touchdown, the only rushing touchdown for this Watchung Hills team. And they got a couple guys with Xavier Thorne and Jonathan Taub with 50 yards. James stepping back and throwing the right side of the field and in and out of the hands of the senior Adam McDaniel. Flag on the play. And Chris, only 1 interception for this Blue Devil defense this year. That would be Drew Ortiz in week number 2 against Ridge. But we've seen a bunch this year, balls just going right through the hands that should have been picked off, including last week, Jake Dayon almost had an INT.
Yeah, Mike, I'm pretty sure it's pass interference on Westfield, though. It didn't look like a penalty, though. It looked like number 6 of Watchung was wide open, Jonathan Taub. And that's going to be a first down, but, yeah, McDaniel did get his hands on that. Technically wouldn't have been another pick, but it would have been close enough.
So the Warriors get a big break there from the pass interference. Only 1 receiver in the area and 4 Blue Devils. And they'll set up with 2 receivers to James's left. He's looking for the right, and the pass is caught. It's Xavier Thorne, the senior, one of the big skill players we featured earlier for the Warriors, making a big catch. A gain of 23 for Watchung Hills, and they are in Westfield territory for the first time this afternoon.
And Connor James, I'm pretty sure he saw Xavier Thorne, probably one of the best players on Watchung. And against McIntyre, very inexperienced cornerback, and he just airs it out, and a huge pickup for Watchung as Shea Elliott comes up with a tackle. Excuse me, Xavier Thorne.
Sangiacomo, Govern, and Elliott on the tackle. Gain of 3 on the play, 2nd and 7.
Thorne with 6 catches and 48 yards receiving coming into the ball game. Second down for Watchung. Play action, James rolling to his right. And a big stop from Drew Ortiz.
Yeah, Drew Ortiz again, another big tackle for Westfield, able to contain James, and no gain on the play, bringing up a 3rd down and 6 for Watchung.
5:10 left to go here in quarter number 1. 3rd and 6 for the Warriors.
That was James on the run.
Led by head coach Rick Suber. Watchung Hills coming off a 2-8 year last season where they were absolutely crushed by the Blue Devils 40-14 back in Watchung. James escapes the pressure and has himself a 1st down on the far sideline inside the 20. A nice play from the senior QB.
Yeah, right
Has
there.
a 1-to-8 touchdown interception ratio, but his legs look to be the strength of his game, but nothing Westfield's defense is not used to, Chris. Last week we saw a very talented dual threat QB in Antonio Scott.
Yeah, Antonio Scott last week, it was so hard to contain him because, let's not forget, Mike, Westfield defensive backs probably went up against their toughest test of the season, Tyke Ryanberry, and, you know, when you got a guy like that you got to cover, it's very hard to, contain Antonio Scott, a dual threat quarterback, and he really did affect Westfield on the ground mostly the entire second half.
1st and 10 from the 19, a run up the middle for Jack Taub, and he is brought down by the senior. Joe Sangiacomo is really having a tremendous senior campaign, Chris. Had a huge game last week with 1 sack and a bunch of tackles, and got our post-game interview.
Yeah, Mike, let's not forget he had that big 3rd and short stop so that Franklin could punt it away when the game was still pretty close. But yeah, one of the first plays of this game, gets a huge tackle for a loss, and he's just been all over the place, Mike. You know, he can transition from defensive end back to linebacker, but I think primarily for this season he's going to be sticking around at D end.
2nd and 8, the Warriors taking their time here on this possession, and he is brought down. Too easy for Jake Valabera to bring up 3rd and long and push the Warriors outside the red zone.
Yeah, Val again adding to his resume with another great sack right there, and Jake Dayon coming off the weak side to help out Val with the sack, and it brings up a 3rd and 13 for Franklin.
From the 25-yard line. Westfield has won the past 5 meetings between these two teams. And last time Watchung Hills won would be 2009. They played every single year except for 2012. 3rd and 14 for the Warriors. 2 receivers. James steps back looking to his left. And it is incomplete. Intended for the senior Michael Asante, his first target of the game. Flag on the play, and Chris, I believe it's going to be offensive pass interference. We saw a push off from Michael Asante, number 11 in white. Yeah,
he does have the height over McIntyre, but you can definitely see the push off right there trying to catch the ball. And I'm not sure if Coach Sarno is either going to decline or accept this penalty because, remember, it's only high school. A kicker can't really make this field goal, but it looks like they're going to push him back 15 yards to make it a 3rd and about 28.
That is a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, I think that's a smart decision, Chris, because if you accept the penalty, that is a makeable field goal. Obviously now, back at the 40, way out of field goal range.
Yeah, even if it was still at the 25, it'd still be very hard. But yeah, right now, if they stop them, they're definitely going to have to punt it. It's a pretty long drive. Washington's been on the field for about, 7 or 8 minutes. Just a lot of 3rd down conversion plays for the Watchung.
And thanks to that one Westfield defensive pass interference. So 2:53 to go here in the first quarter. Still no score at Gary Kaler Stadium between the Westfield Blue Devils and Watchung Hills Warriors. A 3rd and 29 for Connor James and Watchung Hills. And it hit James in some trouble, and he is sacked by Jake Valabera, the senior captain, with his second sack of the drive.
And Mike, Jake Val, I talked to him earlier today. He says Westfield D-line has got to win the line of scrimmage, and he's doing just that. 2 sacks already in the first quarter. Start to a great afternoon.
Brian Puccio, the senior, back on the field for his second punt of this first quarter. Smith will await it at the 15-yard line. Still looking for his first career as that punt fumble is lost, and then a shovel pass is complete to pick up some yardage from and then Adam McDaniel on the stop.
Couldn't have been the worst thing for the Warriors. A very heads-up play by the punter, Brian Puccio. Just throws it to one of his gunners. But Westfield, again, gets the ball in pretty good field position at around their own 46-yard line. But nevertheless, that was a pretty heads-up play by Puccio.
So the Westfield offense will take over at the 45. Emmett Smith as Hank Shapiro loses that snap. That has been a common sight from this Westfield offense. We saw it on the first play of the season right here at Kaler against the Linden Tigers, and then we saw it twice at Ridge, but didn't happen last week. But they really got to sort that out, Chris, especially in a season where the games have been pretty close.
And yeah, Mike, no, absolutely. Against Basking Ridge, 2 happened this season, but now it looks like Coach DeSarno brought out 1 tight end, and Jason Castaner brought in Adam McDaniel and Stevie Barden, 2 very deep threat possibilities.
Allegro gets the carry out of the shotgun to pick up those lost yardage, and gain of 4 for Tim Allegro.
Yeah, so with 3rd and 10 right now, Mike, I wouldn't be surprised. You know, we have Stevie Barden, Adam McDaniel, probably one of the 2 fastest players on this team. You don't have to go for the long ball. You just got to get over the middle of the field, and they can just break one open and go for it. But we saw Hank Shapiro, week 2 against Basking Ridge, air it out about 40 yards to Stevie Barden. Just got to wait and see.
3rd and 10, Shapiro in the shotgun, looking, and it's complete. Stevie Barden, see you later. Touchdown, Westfield. As the Blue Devils strike first. Flag is on the play, and Chris, I'm not 100% positive that pass was intended for Barden.
Yeah.
I was looking at Emmett Smith, and then Smith, I believe the flag's going to be pass interference because Smith got hit before he could go up and jump for the ball, but I'll have to ask Hank after the game if that was intended for Barden, because I had my eyes locked on Emmett Smith.
I'm like, another great throw by Hank Shapiro to Stevie Barden. Yeah, you just said looked like it was intended for Smith, but Barden just heads up play, catches the ball, and it's just off to the races. And that's 2 balls thrown to him this season, 2 touchdowns, just absolutely phenomenal for the senior cornerback and what looks like possibly senior wide receiver as well.
Aiden Bolin, the senior, with a low extra point, still getting the job done to make it 7-0. A 54-yard touchdown from Stevie Barden from the arm of Hank Shapiro. 2nd touchdown of the year for Stevie Barden, only his 2nd completion, and the 2nd touchdown of Hank Shapiro's young career.
And Mike, these are the plays that is how Westfield won so much last season. Martini just finding the seam and throwing it to his favorite receiver, not Nick Martini, his older brother. Wait, no, let me rephrase that. Phil Martini finding Jack Shirk open, and Mike Moriarty as well. But let's not forget Kyle Dombrowski and also Adam McDaniel. And yeah, but right there, Stevie Barden's 2nd touchdown on the season. And with that penalty, this 15-yard penalty, Will Castor's going to be able to kick inside Warrior territory. And Mike, a touchback, it's still 20 yards, and that's still pinned back deep for the Warriors.
25-yard line for the touchback.
Excuse me, 25.
And Kessler's kick will be a touchback. So big turn of events here late in quarter number 1. Hank Shapiro finding Stevie Barden for a 54-yard touchdown to break open the scoreboard here. 7-0 Westfield late in quarter number 1. And there was just nobody back there. Once Barden had the football,
no,
he was
no safety.
Gone. No chance of catching up with the senior, who has to get right back on the field and play corner to go up against Tyler James, the senior, number 5 for Watchung, on the bottom of your screen. Man in motion. Handoff up the middle for Taub, and quickly brought down.
No gain on the play. Drew Ortiz and Levy in on the stop.
Drew Ortiz, no Levy. Coming up with a stop for the Blue Devils.
And Mike, Drew Ortiz this season leads this Westfield defense with 29 tackles, starting off where he left off last season. And that's just phenomenal. 29 tackles through 3 games. And, you know, he's probably going to rack up a lot more with, I believe, about 9 games to go in this season if they do indeed make it back to MetLife.
So quarter number 1, a slow one here at Gary Kaler Stadium in Westfield, New Jersey. But the Blue Devils on their way to extending the state-long winning streak to 29 games, courtesy of a 54-yard touchdown from the sophomore quarterback Hank Shapiro to the senior, mostly cornerback, but twice this season playing receiver, 2 catches, lined up for 2 plays, and Stevie Barden with another receiving touchdown. 7-0 Westfield, quarter number 2, coming right up here on BDTV. So welcome back, quarter number 2 here in Westfield. Connor James from the play action, nowhere to go, and a dangerous pass over the middle of the field. No Warriors in the area, and Drew Ortiz gets a hand on it.
Yeah, could have given Ortiz his 2nd interception on the season. Probably had a better bet of throwing that ball out of bounds. As you said, that was very dangerous territory, and the only person around there was Ortiz, and there was not a Warrior receiver in sight.
And that's maybe why he's got 8 interceptions in just 3 games. That's a ball you just want to chuck to the sideline, get rid of it. So many quarterbacks you see trying to make something out of nothing, and it just doesn't turn out well.
There was just throwing into absolutely no one.
3rd down for Watchung Hills. From the 20. High snap. James is not able to fall on top of it. Westfield recovers. Jordan Barham, the senior, falls on top of the football, and this offense should be able to punch in for a touchdown.
Yeah, Mike, freshman year, there was a fumble. When I played, Jordan was offensive lineman. There was a fumble right at the goal line. We were about to score, and Jordan falls right on top of it to get his first touchdown ever playing football. And right there, using his ability at defensive lineman, and just gets through the line, picks up the fumble, can add that to his resume.
So 1st and goal from the 10 for this Westfield offense. Tim Allegro gets the carry to the right side, and he is in for a touchdown.
Mike, it's almost getting too easy for the sophomore. Again, just finds the hole, and that's his 4th touchdown in the past 2 games. Just having an absolutely incredible start to the season. And Westfield is up right now 13-0, 14 if Bolton can convert the extra point.
It's Allegro's 6th touchdown of the season and 4th in the past 2 games. Just an absolute stud. Allegro is having an incredible year. And Aiden Bolin drills the PAT to make it 14-0 in favor of the Blue Devils.
I mean, he just knows where to get to the end zone, Mike. It's just, he knows the hole before it even develops. And just again, another great run by Allegro.
And just a costly mistake, Chris, on the snap from the Watchung Hills center, way over the head of Connor James. And those are the mistakes we don't want to see from the Blue Devils. They've been fortunate, all the muffed, all the fumbled snaps they've had over the course of this first part of the year. They've only lost one of them at Ridge. Just got to be careful, because if you lose a fumble and you're backed up in your own end zone, it's a quick turnaround and a change of 7 points.
Well, Mike, in the beginning of this season, Hank, he missed the snap, was able to fall back on top of it, but against Basking Ridge, they were moving down the field and he just missed the snap. And, you know, we didn't see it at all last weekend, maybe a little glimpse of it this week. Didn't get completely away from him. But yeah, it looks like he is developing into the quarterback that everyone wants to see.
Returned and brought down quickly at the 20-yard line by the senior Benny Bontempo.
Bontempo getting out there on special teams and delivering a huge hit, his first tackle of the season.
The junior Chris Sisoglu on the return for the Warriors, number 17. And the crowd favorite, Benny Bontempo, the senior, with a nice tackle. As Watchung Hills will start at the 21. Their last play, obviously the fumbled snap, resulting in Tim Allegro's 10-yard rushing touchdown. They'll go on the ground with it. Able to break one tackle is DeGeezy. And Shea Elliott with the second stop right there for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, like this Westfield fan base is pretty much what they were expecting for this game. Westfield just been tearing it up on both sides of the ball. And I bet they're very happy to see that Hank Shapiro is just alive and well, having already one touchdown for over 50 yards. It's just what they were expecting today, Mike, an unusual Thursday afternoon game.
$10:50 to go here in quarter number 2. Another run for DeGeezy. And quickly stopped to bring up third and about 8. David DeHeasy, only a sophomore, number 32 for the Watchung Hills Warriors.
This brings up about 3rd and 11 for the Warriors. Excuse me. And Mike, I'm pretty sure if they can't convert here, Westfield's again going to have great field position. We saw Smith, you know, on that crossing pattern with the pass interference. He did get a little shooken up, excuse me. But last week he showed us what he could do returning the football. And he's the guy we want returning these kicks, and probably can get Westfield again another great starting field position.
Third and 11 for Watchung Hills. Connor James is hit from behind. Jake Valabera with his 3rd sack of the afternoon, and he will surpass Rory McGovern now with team leader in sacks.
Yeah, Mike, Val, 3-year starter. He knows the ropes of how to get to the quarterback, but, I mean, it just looks too easy for him. Already 3 sacks and not even halfway through the second quarter. And we're probably going to see a couple more throughout this game.
So Puccio on for his 3rd punt. The second will really only be a second punt because he didn't get to kick the second one. After the low snap, he had to pick it up and just fire it out to the receiver. And it picked up a few yards, but definitely not enough for the first down.
Oh, penalty on the field.
And a false start.
Puccio's going to have to kick in from his own end zone now. We know what happened when someone was kicking from their own end zone. Neva Levy coming in with the block for the safety.
Smith awaits the kick at the Westfield 45. High kick and a fair catch taken at the Watchung Hills 49, where the Blue Devils will take over. And again, excellent field position, so important. And the confidence that gives this young Westfield offense, Chris, when you get great field position.
Oh, absolutely. It doesn't just build up confidence, but it also, you know, just shortens the field for you have to score. And it was right around this mark where Hank Shapiro aired it out to Stevie Barden. But it looks like Jason Cassidy has checked back in at wide receiver. But, you know, I'm pretty sure right now, leading 14-0 with 50 to go, I would just keep feeding Allegro. He also has 1 touchdown today. And they just probably want to keep this game going.
Allegro is brought down by a pair of Watchung Hills defenders. Jeff Pogge, no relation to the punter, in there for the stop. Those linebackers and front four for the Warriors sure do hit hard, Chris.
Yeah, and you know, like we were just talking about a couple last quarter about the cheap shot last year. It doesn't look like anything's too chippy right now. Just a lot of huge hitters on this team. But the game's not over.
Shapiro pump fakes, and he'll decide to run with it. A late push from the Warriors' Tyler Gelmart.
I think I spoke too soon on that one. Looked like a little pushed him.
No flag, though. And speaking of the chippiness from this Watchung Hills team, in week 1 against the Union Farmers, there was actually a fight that broke out. And it was started by the Warriors.
Yeah, Mike Val showed me today, too, when Union played them, a kid from Watchung, I don't remember the exact name or number, but there was a fumble on the play, and I'm pretty sure I saw the kid go in and punch one Union player in the stomach. That's probably why a fight broke out.
3rd and 6. There's the pitch to Tim Allegro on the far side, and he's taken down just shy of the first down marker.
So about 4th and 2 with a flag.
It's holding on the offense.
Adam McDaniel and Stevie Barden going to come in as Cassett and Freer come out. Is a hold on the Westfield offensive line. They'll push him back to make it 3rd and 15.
So, I mean, Mike, obvious passing situation right here. You mean you have Emmett Smith, who's been coming alive past couple weeks at wide receiver, a couple catches. But also, you know, Stevie Barden and Adam McDaniel, who all 3 wide receivers are lined up, trips left near Westfield's sideline. But just, again, all these guys are very deep threats, and that's what Westfield needs right now, making it a 3rd and 15.
Shapiro on the slant to Barden, the same play that got them the touchdown. This time it's only a gain of 4. They can't get to the original line of scrimmage, so they'll have to punt it away as Will Kessler comes out there.
Yeah, look more. At first, looked more like a tunnel screen as McDaniel and Smith were looking more blocking, but you know Smith looked like he got a little more of a slant to get it up the field a little bit. And yeah, with Will Kessler punting at around the 35, gets it away.
It'll bounce inside the 20. And Xavier Thorne, he originally called for the fair catch, then lets it bounce, and then jumps up in the air to dive for that one. Risky play there.
I'm pretty sure it touched him, too. He's just able to pounce back on it quickly. But also, a couple of the Warrior gunners were also around the ball. And if it touched one of them, ball is live. But Watchung, again, pinned back pretty deep in their own territory at around their own 18 or 19-yard line. Looks about more towards the 19. But this Westfield defense still going strong. Westfield's leading 14-0 with 7:18 to go here in the first half.
James, one step back and pass is complete. First down and more. Xavier Thorne. He could go all the way. An 80-yard touchdown for the Watchung Hills Warriors. It's the senior Xavier Thorne. And right there, Chris, just a quick play, quick snap. Right after the punt from Will Kessler, one drop back from Connor James on the screen pass, and Xavier Thorne just runs right down that sideline, officially 81 yards. And as long as they can make the extra point, they cut this lead right in half.
Yeah, Mike, it looked like McIntyre was trailing the whole way. He should have dove to try to take out his legs a little bit earlier because, you know, once you get around the 5-yard line, you still have all that momentum going forward to get into the end zone. If he had a shot, it would have been around more towards midfield in the 40-yard line just to have a shot at it. But, yeah, Xavier Thorne steps it up and cuts this Westfield lead in half.
And the PAT is good from Brian Puccio, the kicker and the punter. Talking about that chippiness, he fell down there. Might have been a shove at the end of that. But that is a huge play from Watchung Hills. And it's been a similar storyline through the first 4 weeks of the season. Chris, Westfield usually getting to that early lead, but the opponent hanging on.
Yeah. As
we saw last week with the big throw and catch with Tyke Rhineberry of Franklin.
Yeah, Tyke Rhineberry last week, you know, he went up against Stevie Barton, Adam McDaniel, you know, that's probably a couple of the best defensive backs Westfield's got, if not the best. And he just blew right by them. And that right there with Thorne just booking up the field. Looks like Stevie Barton might have gotten blocked there because, you know, it wasn't necessarily a pass defense that he is used to. It's more of like a quick hitch route instead of a deep fly route, which Stevie is more accustomed to guarding. But yeah, nevertheless, Westfield just got to step it up right here and go back into halftime with at least a 2-touchdown lead. But Mike, this season we've seen them a lot. They come out in the second half with a lot of fire and a lot of capability to get it done. Last week, Tim Allegro, his last 2 touchdowns came in the second half, and it's when they kick it up and just seal everything out.
Puccio will send it away. Emmett Smith from the 8-yard line makes a nice juke move and has another nice return.
Smith breaking ankles out there. Great cutback mover out his own 15-yard line and sets up Westfield in great field position once again. Smith is really just coming alive and just doing a lot for Westfield on punts and kick returns, and hopefully he can step it up at wide receiver, get a couple more targets to hopefully get his first touchdown of his varsity career. So you cast it back out there along with Tommy Norris for Barton and McDaniel.
Well, at the 33-yard line, Allegro gets the carry up the middle.
Allegro carries, moves the file
for 4 yards.
Second down and 6.
About a 25-yard return from the junior Emmett Smith on that kickoff.
It's really coming alive for this special teams unit for Westfield.
Blue Devils are back in action next week on the road for Friday Night Lights at Union at 7 o'clock.
And Mike, 1 week from then, Westfield playing at Rutgers Stadium against Elizabeth. Probably, you know, second biggest game if they make it back to MetLife, and it's probably going to be a good one.
Yeah, Elizabeth, average team in the mid-state 38, but surprisingly gave Westfield a very close test last year. Final score was only 13-7. It was tied with no score at the half just a year ago in Elizabeth, and then Westfield got the 13-0 lead and then a late touchdown from the Minutemen.
Yeah, Mike, about a 3rd and 4, more about 3rd and 4 for Westfield. A flag is thrown, and I'm pretty sure it's an encroachment on the defense. Westfield has just been so good at making the defenders jump.
Yeah, we saw that about 4 times last week from Franklin, where they just kept encroaching.
Yeah, it
and
happened a couple times.
Made some costly penalties, giving Westfield automatic first downs, just as we see right here from Watchung Hills.
And so first down, fresh set of downs for Westfield.
With 5.5 to play in quarter number 2. Westfield leads it 14-7. Shapiro on the move to his left. And a one-handed grab from the sophomore Colin Freer. And we're going to see a face mask penalty at the end from Taub, I believe.
Shades of Odell Beckham Jr. on that catch right there. And like Freer just extends with one hand and brings it in. Just unbelievable catch for the sophomore tight end.
15 yards tacked on to the end of the run, and another Westfield.
And just, Chris, going back earlier, the immaturity of this Watchung Hills defense, they don't seem to learn.
Yeah, they don't care what they do as long as they bring it down. Any penalty that goes for them, they just want to take him down, look like a bigger guy out there.
A blatant and obvious and just an immature mistake from the older Taub brother, Jonathan. Clearly grabbing Colin Freer's face mask, and it's a costly penalty.
Yep.
Clock's winding down here in quarter number 2. You give him 15 extra yards. Allegro has room to the outside, but he's brought down. Pogge on the stop.
Looks like Adam McDaniel's coming back out there. Sorry, Mike. Adam McDaniel's coming back out there for Jason Cassett and Stevie Barton for Colin Freer. You know, if I was Westfield, I'd probably stick with this group for the rest of this drive. I mean, you have the possibility of going deep down the field, but also, you know, with the speed, any quick screen route or tunnel screen, just a quick slant even, over the middle of the field, they can just bust it down and get a huge gain. We saw with Stevie Barton when he caught that touchdown as Hank Shapiro lines up in the shotgun this time.
Allegro gets the carry again. Nowhere to go. Brought down by Clayton Bush, the senior, with his first stop of the afternoon.
Yeah, since Allegro got that touchdown earlier in this game, it looks like this Warrior D-line has shut him down a little bit, and it looks like Coach DeSarno and Coach Heyman decided to go back to this pass game to try to open it up a little bit. And right now, Stevie Barton covered one-on-one with Warrior defensive back number 17, Chris Sisoglu. Wouldn't be surprised if Hank Shapiro aired it out to him right now.
3rd and 9. Shapiro rolling to his right. And the pass is complete on the money to Adam McDaniel with 3 Warrior defenders in the area. Shapiro delivers a bullet, and McDaniel able to hold on.
Might not have been a pass to Barton, which I was expecting, but still a great heads-up throw and catch from Shapiro to McDaniel. And Westfield, another first down for him, and they're rolling with 3:57 to go here in the first half, and still McDaniel and Barton out there for the offense.
So 1st and 10 from the 23-yard line, 2 receivers on the near side. Emmett Smith in motion. It'll be a false start on Westfield, moving back 5 yards.
5-yard penalty will bring up 1st and 15.
3:41 to go. Westfield and Watchung Hills with all 3 timeouts. So plenty of time to get this ball in the end zone.
And Westfield gets the ball to start the second half too, so if they do convert here, just a little bit more time until they get the ball back starting the second half.
Just a 7-point lead after that 81-yard touchdown from the screen pass. Xavier Thorne, the senior for the Warriors. Shapiro dropping back, looking for Stevie Barton. Again on the slant route, and juggled it and couldn't come up with it.
Yeah, deep post route right there for Barton, and luckily got his hands on it at first, but probably the hit knocked it out of him. But
still a good sign though, Chris.
Yeah.
Barton showing some confidence because he knows he's got this cornerback beat.
He's got him right where he wants him. Yeah. And still, he's still single covered, and not many people can match Stevie Barton's speed and agility out there.
2nd and 15, excuse me, with 3:15 to go. Shapiro gets it off, and Tim Allegro is into the end zone.
But there is a
huge
flag.
Touchdown for Allegro, but this one might be coming back.
Yeah, flag thrown in the vicinity of the offensive line. It is holding on the offense. And yeah, it's going to push this offense back again a couple yards. And Mike checking into this game, senior running back, fresh off the injury, is Wandre House.
Yeah, the first time he's checked in this afternoon. We knew that Tim Allegro definitely got the starting job after back-to-back 190 yards last week, over 200 against Ridge, but we still thought we would see a little bit more of House because he did get a ton of carries week 1 and is currently verbally committed to play football at Gettysburg next fall. So surprising we don't see, this is the first time we're going to see Wandre House. There he is with the carry and a nice push from his offensive line and a nice second effort after the initial contact from the Warrior defense.
Yeah, and it gets him 5 yards and, you know, puts him right in the middle of the field, about the 30-yard line. Middle of the field between the hashes, as I should say. And it looks like Allegro, not sure, is coming back in for House. And McDaniel and Barton still out there along with Smith, so, you know, most likely going to be a passing play. About 90% sure on that one. But the screenplay really worked last time, but I'm pretty sure that if it did happen again, the Warriors would see. So Hank's just probably going to air this one out right here.
Still 3rd and long. Shapiro looking for McDaniel in the end zone. And the pass is incomplete. Looks like McDaniel brought it down, but at the end, as he goes to the ground, ball comes loose, and it's incomplete. So 4th and 15 for the Blue Devils with that ball at about the 27-yard line, is just outside of Aiden Boland's field goal range.
Yeah, no,
so keep the offense out there, and it looks like they will be going for it.
That was another great throw by Shapiro, letting it air it out again. But yeah, I'd keep him back out there as, excuse me, these Warriors defenders are giving a little cushion because, you know, if they stop him here with about 15 yards or less, they got their ball back.
4th and 15. Shapiro pump faking, throwing a wide open Adam McDaniel for the score. His first receiving touchdown of the year for the senior Adam McDaniel. Completely beat his man, and a perfect throw from Hank Shapiro.
You know, Adam McDaniel left the defensive back for the Warriors just frozen. It was a beautiful hitch and go route, and Hank Shapiro just letting it float right into McDaniel's hands in the end zone. And Westfield's back on top for 2 scores if Boland can convert right here, making it 21-7. But yeah, McDaniel right there, he definitely got his man to bite on the hitch route.
Extra point is good from Aiden Boland. 21-7 in favor of your Westfield Blue Devils with 2 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in quarter number 2. And going back to the that 3rd and 15 play where double coverage, McDaniel almost came away with a spectacular catch. That had some reminiscence of the Elizabeth catch McDaniel had just from Phil Martini
on his
opposite
back,
corner of the end zone, but just almost the same exact play.
And Mike, right there, just going back to the play for Adam McDaniel was, let's say, his first touchdown of the season as well. It was just the hitch route right there. It definitely just froze his defender. And you don't see that much too often. You don't see pump fakes as much as in football as much as you used to. But right there, Shapiro got him on the pump fake, and McDaniel just open space, no one around him. Easy touchdown.
And Chris, I think maybe this coaching staff's been listening to our broadcast because the first week, me and you were right on it.
Yeah, we were ranting about Adam and Stevie coming back.
Adam McDaniel and Stevie Barden, they are the most talented wide receivers on this football team, with no disrespect to anyone else, but it's just a fact that those two, they're the most athletic and the most dynamic and the most talented wide receivers. And you're seeing that this afternoon. You saw a couple weeks ago with Stevie Barden. In my opinion, they need more touches and they need more plays on offense at wide receiver, and it's worked out for Westfield.
Those are 2 huge plays for Westfield, and it's because, excuse me, of those guys. And right there, Will Kessler with the kick, and Thorne has got to fall on it after the bobble, pinning him back even deeper than last time, right around the 12-yard line. But yeah, going back to McDaniel and Barden, Mike, they've just been they're the lethal weapons of this offense. I'm just going to say it, because every time they're in this game, you just got to watch out for them, because if they get the ball, it's most likely a touchdown, even if they're in open space or even if they're just triple teamed. They have the height, they have the agility, they have the hands, they have the speed, they have everything you want in a wide receiver. And also playing at both sides of the ball. If this continues, it's going to be a new dynamic duo here for Westfield.
Yeah, I completely agree, Chris. And that was a costly little muff there from Xavier Thorne because Watchung Hills is pinned well back here, as that's a big run from Dehese. But Westfield with all 3 timeouts left, not a complete blowout yet, so they might try to get some stops and quickly stop the clock. And with good field position, they might get another touchdown on the board. But
yeah,
that was a nice run from Dehese.
I mean, you know, Westfield, they're still getting the ball back to start the second half, and if they start the second half the same way they've been playing, I'm pretty sure they're obviously going to get another touchdown. But they're going to let probably the clock wind down just to go back into the locker room, you know, adjust a few things. That thing with Thorne was probably most likely a fluke. But
James taking a shot down the field, and it is caught to Jeff Pogge. A huge gain for the Warriors of about 30 yards. So Connor James trying to prove it was not a fluke. And that was a nice play.
Yeah, it was a beautiful
from this
throw
Warrior offense.
to number 4 of the Warriors, Jeff Pogge. And, you know, it's just Jake down, his head was turned, so he didn't have the best angle or let alone a view of the play that was coming at him.
That's a short pass complete. Out to Michael Asante, the senior, making his first catch.
And Jordan Simpson has actually checked in at cornerback, and I'm pretty sure it's because of what happened with McIntyre when Thorne had that touchdown.
And as timeout is taken on the field by Watchung Hills, their first timeout, they have 2 remaining. We did not get to see a lot of Jordan Simpson last Friday at Franklin, which was kind of surprising. Thought he had played pretty well in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But now he checks back in. 1 minute and 8 seconds remaining here in the first half. Watchung Hills down 21-7, but they have a couple nice string of passes here. Offense has been clicking late in this second quarter. Ball's at the 39. So they'll try to get another touchdown and cut it to just a 7-point lead.
And yeah, with being around the 40-yard line, you know, it's still a ways away from a field goal if they can't get any yards right here. But, you know, James has been looking not too bad when it's come to throwing the ball pretty far.
And San Giacomo is right there for the sack, bringing Connor James to the ground. A huge sack from Westfield, sort of eliminating the scoring opportunity.
And Mike
for Watchung Hills.
Joe San Giacomo coming up with another huge play for this defense. And when it looked like that the Warriors were marching down the field, San Giacomo said, no, that's not happening, and sacks James with, I believe, his first one of the season. And San Giacomo just having a great senior campaign.
Watchung Hills taking their time here. Ball backed up to the 45. James scrambling to the right. And he'll get out of bounds, but not after Rory McGovern brings him there.
And believe
as this first quarter is going to wind down.
And James was
first half, excuse me.
James was tackled in bounds. And 4th and 5, clock still going. And it looks like James calls a timeout with 2 seconds remaining. Actually, you know what? Never mind. Looked like he's giving him the. And again, my mistake right there. James did call a timeout.
Yeah,
2 seconds to go. Yeah, first time. Yeah, correct the first time. Yeah. But, you know, no doubt just going to probably air it out to the end zone. Which is also, you know, a dangerous possibility because Westfield could intercept it. And with these defensive backs we've been talking about all season, it's a very risky move.
I think you and I both learned to trust the gut, not the loudspeaker announcer. Week 2,
yep.
We thought it was Jason Cassett who had that long touchdown.
Yeah,
actually, Stevie Barden.
Yep. Yeah, so stick with the gut next time, Lenny.
So just 3 seconds remaining in the first half. With the ball at the 37, Watchung Hills will look for a 37-yard Hail Mary.
And it looks like, Mike, that they brought back in McIntyre, took out one of their linebackers. And looks like they're going to have a simulated version of a man up 3 deep that we see a lot of times in Madden for a Hail Mary, and they're going to have a lot of guys back on this one.
Yeah, a little miscommunication right there from the secondary and the linebacking trio right now for Westfield. Not sure where they didn't know where they were supposed to be. Colin Freer almost came up with the sack, but instead Joe Sangiacomo will get his 3rd sack of the half. Have a day, number 46.
Yeah, I said first sack before, Mike. Excuse me. That was his 2nd and comes up with his 3rd. But yeah, Mike, this Westfield defense has been looking probably its best all season, letting up that touchdown early, but pretty sure that Westfield can bounce back from that, which they did, stopping the Warriors right there. And, Mike, this whole game, Westfield has been winning the line of scrimmage, getting through Jake Val with 3 sacks, Joe Sangiacomo with 2 already. And let's not forget about this offense, too. Hank Shapiro, 2 throwing touchdowns already, 1 to McDaniel and 1 to Barden, the 2 players who we should see a lot more of out there on the offensive side of the ball, and Tim Allegra with 1 as well.
So 21-7 in favor of the Westfield Blue Devils, just 1 half away from extending this winning streak to 29 games. Second half of Westfield Watchung Hills High School football coming right up here on BDTV. So welcome everybody for the second half this afternoon between the Westfield Blue Devils and the Watchung Hills Warriors. Michael Ennier alongside Chris Witzel this afternoon. Also, huge thanks to our cameraman, Brendan Riccardi, doing a tremendous job. Just a one-man camera crew. And Riccardi will be joining us in a couple of weeks when the Blue Devils hit the road to take on Immaculata for Friday Night Lights. 21-7 the score. Westfield receiving this second half kickoff. Emmett Smith from the 10 on the far side of your screen, and he's brought down near the 26.
Yeah, with good tackle there by Thorne. Usually see Smith, try to bounce it around right there. I'm pretty sure didn't see Thorne coming in off the gunner's left side. So not the field position Westfield wanted to start off with around their own 20-yard line. But let's Mike, Westfield was great in the first half. Stevie Barden, Adam McDaniel picking up touchdowns along with Tim Allegra with 1 pretty good rushing touchdown as well. And we were talking about how if McDaniel and Barden both come in to this Westfield receiving core and start getting a lot more reps in there, can lead to more catches and a lot more touchdowns for Westfield. And hopefully we can be seeing that throughout the rest of the season.
They'll go on the ground for the first play. Allegro has a few yards as he's brought down by Mike Miller, the senior. We're seeing Emmett Smith and Jason Cassett lined up at the receiver position for the Blue Devils. Colin Freer right now, number 84 at tight end.
Great catch earlier.
Yeah, nice one-handed grab. We've seen just basically split time. I would say today more of Colin Freer, but over the course of the 4 weeks, been pretty even in terms of playing time between Colin Freer and the junior Tommy Norris. Shapiro on the move, has a wide open Emmett Smith, who can't make the catch.
We were looking for the big one. First touchdown of his varsity career for Emmett Smith. Not going to happen right there, but that was a good throw by Shapiro to Smith, but Mike Smith's got to come up with that one wide open, and if he caught that, it was nothing but green grass ahead of him.
A lot of times we see some receivers start running before they have the ball fully controlled.
Saw that last week with Cassett trying to get that first down. And Stevie Barden, McDaniel checking back in like we were just talking about.
Barden lined up on the bottom of your screen. McDaniel on the top of your screen. Shapiro, pass intended for Emmett Smith. Just goes off the fingertips of his right hand. A little too wide of a pass for Shapiro. So Westfield goes 3 and out on this opening drive of quarter number 3. Will Kessler, the sophomore, on to punt, and it's Xavier Thorne awaiting the punt at the 36.
Yeah, and you can see Smith kind of beating himself up there on the sideline. One play for sure should have caught, and the last one was up for grabs. Ball looked a little wobbly.
Line drive punt for Kessler will bounce out of bounds. Watchung Hills will take over at their own 48, trailing by 2 touchdowns. Connor James in this Warrior offense, we saw some major improvements.
Absolutely.
Some major progression in that second quarter. Would call it a little bit of a lucky play, but they still got the touchdown on the 81-yard screen play to Xavier Thorne, but then a wide open man they had later in the half with Jeff Pogge down the field for a gain of about 30.
Yeah, Mike, but again, I said before, Connor James has been improving a lot this game from, we were talking about in the pregame interview.
A 1 touchdown to 8 interception ratio.
2 to 8 now with that touchdown, no picks in this game, which is a little surprising to our beliefs. But also, sure, he hasn't been throwing the ball as much, but that's because this Westfield team, this Westfield D lines, I should say, has been getting in there. Sanji Como, Valabera, McGovern have all gotten at least 1 sack today. Val with 3, Joe with 2.
James's pass is batted down by Valabera. The senior really playing very well. Had 3 sacks in the first half, along with Joe Sangiacomo, who had 3 first-half sacks. And Valabera able to get his hand on that one from James, who actually almost ended up catching that after Valabera swatted it. Second down for Watchung.
Mike, I'm not sure if you remember, but in week 2 there was another pass defended, and the Ridge's backup quarterback caught the ball and tried to throw it again. But, yeah, right there, ball got another great heads-up play from Valabera, his first deflection of the afternoon.
Hand off to the left side, a nice gain for David DeHese. The sophomore has had the best carries of the day, most yards on the ground for any of the halfbacks for the Warriors. Makes it 3rd and about 3 here for Watchung.
Yeah.
Ball on the Westfield 43.
And Sanji Como, he just ran right by the running back for Watchung. And definitely would have wound up as a loss of yardage, but right there, Shaley comes up with a good tackle from behind, but it could have been a 3rd and 13, now it's about a 3rd and 4.
Three receivers set. DeHese in the backfield. Quarterback sneak. Connor James is going to be met at the first down marker, and I believe he'll be just shy to bring up 4th and 1. And Watchung Hills, Chris, probably will go for Drew Ortiz, the senior linebacker, coming up with a big stop.
Yeah, Drew Ortiz, we haven't heard his name too much today, but he has been on a lot of big plays. And Mike, I'm pretty sure, with the way things are going, he's going to be at the top of this. He's going to be probably one of the top tacklers for this team. And Mike, we just got some new information. 32 is not David DeHese. It is actually Caleb Parker. So from now on, 32, Caleb Parker.
And Westfield's defense is there for the stop. Drew Ortiz and a couple other Blue Devils making the big 4th down stop to force the turnover on downs from Watchung Hills. And yeah, that's a big news. We were just alerted that it's been Caleb Parker listed at as the wrong number in the official roster, but he's been the primary ball carrier for Watchung Hills.
Yeah, and that was a huge stop there for the Westfield defense. Elliott and Ortiz, first ones in there with Levy applying the final blow. And they've just been absolutely fantastic today, Mike. Sure, 1 touchdown, but again, that was just off a pretty fluke play that just turned good for the Warriors.
Shapiro taking a shot down the field. Emmett Smith, the intended receiver, can't come away with it. Hank Shapiro, though, showing off the arm.
It's good to see it happening.
That was the design play right there for Emmett Smith. You saw Shapiro confidently take 3 steps back, and he wanted that touchdown.
Yeah, Mike, that probably wouldn't have been a touchdown, more of like a big completion. But I'm going to say again that it was another difficult play to ball to catch. But again, it went right through his hands. It's something you got to come up with at a varsity level as well. nevertheless, 2nd and 10 here as Allegro gets the handoff right up the middle, but he's going to be stopped for no gain.
Brings up 3rd and 8 for Westfield. Hasn't been a huge numbers day for the sophomore Tim Allegro, who's kind of gone back down to earth after back-to-back 200-plus yard game against Ridge and then 190 against Franklin. But he does have a touchdown, and he's now has 6 TDs in 4 games. So I guess he'll be ending his 3-game streak of a post-game interview. But it can't be...
Can't be long.
There's Stevie Barden, the catch for the first down, and brought down at the 30. But not a good sign right there as Barden is in serious pain, holding his left ankle as he will limp over the sideline, able to get off the field on his own power.
Yeah, that's at least a good sign. As he's obviously a little limp right there, but just got to pray it's at most a sprain or, yeah, obviously just a sprain, Mike, because Stevie Barden is definitely one of the best players on this team. One heck of a corner and, probably a rising star on this offensive unit.
Allegro up the middle. The Watchung Hills front line has done a terrific job, Chris, all afternoon. Got to give them a lot of credit. They've really shut down this run game.
Absolutely, yeah. Tim Allegro, we were just talking about, probably going to end his post-game interview if, he breaks out for another huge game this next quarter and a half. But, yeah, right now, this Watchung D-line is absolutely very superb, maybe one of the best of shutting down Allegro. But that's opened the door for the passing game. Hank Shapiro, a couple balls that should have been caught, definitely not on him.
Adam McDaniel from the screen shakes off one tackle, and he's brought down. That was a big hit McDaniel was able to avoid, led by the helmet, the crown of the helmet from the defender.
Yeah, but
right into the chest of McDaniel.
Yeah, but I don't think it might matter. I believe it's a holding penalty or a block in the back on number 87, Tom Norris. So that's going to back Westfield up a little bit. So it's going to be about a second and about 14 or so. Or, excuse me, no, 2nd and 17.
10 yards from the spot of the foul. Replay, 2nd down. 2nd and 20.
Done a pretty good job, you and I, of calling these penalties before they've been announced this afternoon.
Yeah, but
a couple tricky ones last week.
Another mistake. It's 2nd and 20 again, my fault. But yeah, Adam McDaniel still out there with Emmett Smith and Jason Cassett, and they're again trips near side.
Shapiro waits and then hands it off on the delayed halfback draw to Timmy Allegro. Picks up about 6. To make it 3rd and 14, and Stevie Barden, not a serious injury as he's already back out there.
Oh, wow. I thought he went back into the locker room, but no, it's a great sign for Westfield, able to just shake off that injury and get back out there.
Barden, number 1 in blue, bottom of your screen. 3 receivers to Shapiro's left. That's Emmett Smith and then Adam McDaniel for the Blue Devils. Shapiro rolling to his left. 3 receivers on that side. Under pressure. Just chucks it out of bounds to bring up 4th down.
It's probably a smart decision right there. We saw before with Connor James, throwing it basically in the direction of Drew Ortiz. But that's a heads-up play, and Hank Shapiro, a sophomore, doing that is just, it's good to see that, by Coach Sarno, Coach Heyman, because it shows that he knows what to do when that sort of pressure. And, 4th and 15, they're going to leave the offense out there, and same set, trips left, bottom of your screen to the middle of it, Barden, Smith, and McDaniel.
Just about halfway through quarter number 3, 6:20 to go. Westfield up, 21-7, 4th and 14. Shapiro, a wide open. Adam McDaniel, and the extension for the touchdown. McDaniel's 2nd receiving touchdown of the ball game, and Hank Shapiro having a career afternoon with his 3rd touchdown.
2 TDs for number 2 in blue, a great day for Adam McDaniel, and that puts Westfield up by another score of 27-7, and if Aiden Bolin can convert right here, it can be a 3-score game.
Bolin was practicing on the sideline for about solid 5 minutes. He's 2 of 2 and make it 3 of 3. Excuse me, 4 of 4. 28-7. Westfield. All Blue Devils here at Gary Kaler Stadium.
And again, Mike, Adam McDaniel left wide open in the secondary and able to take it in. Looked like he was going to be stopped for a second, but, you know, that 6'2" frame able to dive in there for the touchdown. And Westfield is just rolling downhill right now, Mike. And since the second half ended, Mike, it looks like most of the, first half ended, it looks like most of the fans in this stadium have cleared out. You know, not going to argue with it. It's still a school night, Thursday night football game, but also back to school night for most of these parents if their child attends the high school. But still, Thursday game, we're not expecting too much.
Want to thank everybody for watching as usual here on our YouTube channel. And with the Thursday game, next school day the game's up, so it'll be up just in less than about 12 hours. This game will be up.
What calls of the week?
As this one is returned to the 33-yard line at Xavier Thorne, and the junior Matt McIntyre getting in on the action with the tackle. 28-7. Chris, you and I mentioned that as long as Westfield beat Ridge, which they did more than beat, 23-7, that this win streak was going to keep going up there because the competition these past couple weeks has been subpar to Westfield, with last week a 1-2 Franklin team and now soon to be a 0-4 Watchung Hills team.
And Mike, for Basking Ridge, people are expecting to be much better than Westfield, and they're 1-2 on the season, not the start they wanted to get off to.
Yeah, they had another disappointing loss last week. Bridgewater lost last week. Great pump fake right there from Connor James. I know Bridgewater,
they lost
about
too.
25 or 26 game regular season streak. They basically have the same streak as Westfield, except for those 2 state title losses.
Yep.
But their regular season streak just ended because they lost last week to Phillipsburg. And then I know Ridge lost last week too. Can't remember who they lost to though.
I believe it was Elizabeth or Union. I'm not sure, but yeah, no, but still 1-2, not the start they wanted to get off to.
We'll double check that for you in just a second. But great pump fake though on that previous play.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
for Connor James, able to avoid the sack and gain 3 yards to make it 2nd and 7. Dropping back is James. He'll scramble. Drew Ortiz is behind him. James doesn't care. He's got the first down.
8 on the play, good enough for his first down.
And Mike, going back to the extra points, I believe Aiden Poland is
only missed one.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
That extra point.
Yeah, the extended one. Yeah, but
penalty after the touchdown.
Last year, Mike Moriarty, before the injury, went 33 of 36 on PAT and field goals.
And that was, sorry about that, Chris. Ridge actually lost a thriller last Friday night at home. They lost to Linden.
Wow. Linden, okay.
And the quarterbacks, Zion Marshall, who Westfield saw week 2, he had a phenomenal game. He had a phenomenal game, over 200 yards rushing. So his best game.
Dead ball.
Yeah, Mike, Zion Marshall in week 1, not too much that Westfield could do. Westfield did a lot for that game as they limited Marshall on the ground. But also, playing at home, Basking Ridge, they were expected to win that game. And, just a big thriller, 1-2. They just weren't expecting that start to the season, Mike.
James taking a shot down the field, and it's well over the head of Michael Asante, the senior.
2nd down and 15.
And 2nd and 16, Westfield defensive backs again just shut down all game. That one play before when Thorne just broke it free and went to the house. And again with James just finding his tight end over the middle. But yeah, most of this game has just been the D-line just getting it done, getting the sacks, and also for the secondary unit, just lock up defense.
2nd and 15, 4:30 to go. Connor James rolling to his right, and the pass goes right through the hands of Jonathan Taub.
Okay, so 3rd and 16. Again, we were talking about how Jordan Simpson was out there before, but it looks like McIntyre has been back in the game for quite some time, just pointing it out now. And with 4:22 to go here in the 3rd quarter, Mike, I don't want to call the game yet as Westfield has been rolling. Still a lot of game left, but the way this game's going, Westfield just on the defensive side of the ball just really stepped up this week. Not saying that they have been playing bad, but this D-line has just really gotten through and just applied a lot of pressure to James. But also Westfield, you said before, milestone day for Hank Shapiro, 3 passing TDs, and along with that, Tim Allegro with another touchdown.
3rd and long for Watchung Hills. 28-7, James gonna scramble for a 3rd consecutive play, and Shea Elliott will bring him down just around the 1st down marker. Looks like it'll be 4th and inches, is a flag.
It looks like it's going to be holding, and it is.
And it is holding. Good call, Chris. And
that should back him up right there, you know.
That'll take him back 10 yards and negate the gain from Connor James.
Yeah, 3rd and 26, you know. That's a lot of open field. We've seen Smith scramble a lot today, but this Westfield team, there's no way you're going to be scrambling for 26 yards unless a miracle occurs. A lot of big blocks got to happen. And, you know, if he wants to air it out, too, you got Adam McDaniel and Stevie Barden and Matt McIntyre, pretty rock-solid defensive back group as well. So, you know, that penalty really shot him in the foot. That would have been 4th and inches, maybe about a yard or two. Now it's 3rd and 26.
And going back to that, we got the update. Ridge was ranked. They were one of the best public schools teams in the state, at least we thought. They were ranked ahead of Westfield. That was supposed to be the best public school game of the year. Then Ridge loses to Westfield 23-7. And then Ridge loses an incredible shootout with Linden as James, a little screen action to Caleb Parker, makes a catch, but not much room to go after. But anyway, the sophomore quarterback for Linden, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, Zion Marshall, had his coming out party, a Madden-like game. Listen to this. He had 11 carries. He's the quarterback. 11 rushes, 267 yards, and 5 rushing touchdowns. As Linden upset Ridge 55-48 in an absolute shootout at Lee Field last Friday night. 267 yards rushing.
That's insane.
And 5 TDs. Michael Vick-like performance for the young gunslinger out of Linden, Zion Marshall. Fair catch taken at the 32, excuse me, from Emmett Smith.
Yeah, 267 yards. I mean, sure. Tim Allegro's 209 yards. Absolutely fantastic. His 3 TDs and over 100 rushing yards too. Phenomenal. But when you get 267 yards in a game with 5 rushing TDs, that's Lamar Jackson, like Michael Vick, RG3 in his prime at Baylor. It's just unbelievable. Especially to rush too. It's not airing the ball out when you get a lot more yards on one throw than you do on a rush usually. It's all rushes, and it's just phenomenal. Probably the best rushing quarterback we've seen since Justin Beckett last season.
Under 3 minutes to go, it's Wandre House in the game at running back, getting the pitch to the left side near the Westfield sideline.
Yeah, so House back out there, you know, with a 3-score lead right now. I'm pretty sure Coach Sarno wants to try to isolate his Tim Allegro as much as he can on the sidelines because, you know, if he goes down, House has got to step back up, and with Tim Allegro playing the way he is, I wouldn't risk him going down right now.
Likes to carry that ball in the right side, even on the left part of the field, and this time, same play, opposite field, and a few yards picked up for the senior Wandre House.
Yeah, going back to him carrying the ball on the right arm, that's probably what caused a lot of fumbles last season. You know, a couple games in the regular season, fumble. Even the state final game, a fumble as well. But I'm pretty sure this season I've seen a lot of him actually going in and not going anywhere, just trying to back his way in, holding onto that ball as tight as he can. That's a very smart decision, because if you go head on, someone can rip that ball out. But if you back up, you have a lot of momentum going with you on the back pedal, and it also protects the ball a lot more if you're going head on.
Yeah, 26, 27, yeah.
Second and 15 after the penalty. Right there on the Westfield offense. Jason Cassett on the bottom, Emmett Smith up top, and there's junior Tommy Norris, the tight end, his first reception of the ball game.
Yeah, Tommy Norris, I believe that is his 4th reception on the season. And we haven't seen too much of him this year. You know, Colin Freer has mostly been the main target this year so far. But, you know, Tom Norris, you know, only a junior too, so he's all next season to try to improve and get better and become that primary target. But let's not forget, Mike, there's probably not going to be a Kyle Dombrowski-like player in a while. Dombrowski's 6'3", about 6'4" maybe, and about 220 to 230 pounds. Just unbelievable.
Emmett Smith with the reception for the Westfield first down.
And Smith makes up for his 2 mistakes right there with the first down for Westfield. And it's good to see him back out there, you know, not shaken up at anything when he dropped those 2 earlier.
So ball's at the 48 here as Westfield driving late in quarter number 3, already up 28-7. And this is the blowout we were looking for, Chris, to get some backup, some time, as Wandre House, a big hole up the middle, just trips up. He doesn't trip. He might have had a touchdown.
Yeah, no, there was another huge hole for the running back House to get through. I'm not sure it would have been a touchdown, as you know, some of the defensive backs were playing pretty deep, could have gotten up to him. But yeah, nevertheless, if House didn't go down, definitely another 10, 15 yards picked up right there.
Could see some carries late in the 4th quarter from Nick Martini.
Yep. Saw that last week,
Had
too.
2 carries for about 8 yards.
Almost got that touchdown, too.
Against Franklin. Shapiro off the play action. Colin Freer makes the catch with the defender wrapped around his neck. Nice play from Freer.
Freer, 2 big catches today, one before with the one-handed snag, and that time a beautiful about 15 to 20 yard pickup, maybe even 25, and that sets up Westfield right outside the red zone.
Quick huddle as Wandre House gets a carry, picks up about 3. That'll be the last play of quarter number 3 here from Gary Kaler Stadium. Adam McDaniel connecting on the receiving end of Hank Shapiro's 3rd passing touchdown of the ball game, his 4th of the season, and Adam McDaniel with 2 touchdowns today. All Westfield, as they are just 12 minutes away from win number 29 in a row. 4th quarter of high school football coming up right here on BDTV. Quarter number 4 here from Gary Kaler Stadium, excuse me. As Westfield looking to improve to 4-0 on the season and extend that state-long winning streak to 29 games. 2nd and 7. Shapiro under center. Wandre House, the running back, spinning to his left for a gain of 2. If you're just joining us, Michael Leniart alongside Chris Witzel here in the booth. Brendan Riccardi upstairs working the camera, and Westfield started off early, Chris, with the first touchdown. The defense playing really well. Joe Sangiacomo, Jake Valabera, both with 3 first-half sacks apiece. First touchdown was to Stevie Barden, then courtesy of the fumble recovery from Jordan Barham, Tim Allegro ran it in for a touchdown.
Time is out.
As a timeout is taken by the Blue Devils.
Westfield marching band.
And then late in the second quarter, we see Adam McDaniel with his first touchdown of the year. And then early on in quarter number 3, McDaniel gets his second touchdown of the game and second touchdown of the season. And we saw the touchdown from Watchung to make it 14-7 in the middle of the second quarter.
Yeah, no, Westfield just been marching all game long, and Mike, it just can't get any better. This is what we saw last year. And come to think of it, Westfield's leading 28-7. And there's still a whole quarter to go. It's like the Blue Devils we saw last year winning these games by 3, 4, even sometimes 5 scores. And this is what people were expecting, like a huge blowout from Westfield. But I was really hoping for some big plays in this game, and we got them. 2 touchdowns to McDaniel, 1 to Barden, and a lot of big plays by this defense. Valabera, 3 sacks. Joe Sangiacomo, 2 sacks. Just a great game from everyone.
Shapiro looking in the end zone. Adam McDaniel. The hat trick, his 3rd touchdown of the ball game, making an awesome catch over the Watchung Hills defender.
I think Hank Shapiro found a new favorite wide receiver, Mike. 3 touchdowns for Adam McDaniel, and Shapiro's 4th passing TD of the game. Unbelievable, and it's great to see this Westfield offense out there, Mike. $34-7. Just what we are used to from the 2016 Blue Devils, as Bolin is a perfect 5 of 5 on extra points. They make it 35-7. Westfield, if you remember last year, they went on the road to Watchung. They were up 40-0 at the half. Phil Martini with 4 first half TDs, and Watchung Hills did score 14 in the second half, but still blowout win. And Mike, last time I saw the type of receiver like Adam McDaniel with 3 TDs, can't forget Chris Boutikaris, his senior year a couple years ago, had 4 receiving TDs in the first half alone against Scotch Plains, and that was an unbelievable game for Boutikaris. And Adam McDaniel, still a lot of ball game to go, but you know, Westfield up 35-7. Wouldn't be surprised if the Sarno puts out 2nd string and 3rd stringers out there. But nevertheless, Adam McDaniel, huge game, 2nd game starting on offense. And he's just off to a great start to this season at wide receiver, and hopefully we'll see a lot more of him out there.
Kessler in the kick.
Good kick from Kessler. Return from the 15 by Xavier Thorne.
Thorne returns, tackled by Elliott.
Tackled by Shea Elliott around the 30-yard line on the far side.
And Mike, shadows coming in nearing 6 o'clock. Don't really have too many games this late in the day, but Thursday with no lights, it's got to be right after school, so 4 o'clock game start. And you can definitely see the shadows coming in from the left side end zone and sweeping across the field. Left side end zone basically completely covered in shadows. And it's going to be a little bit harder to see the ball out there from contrasting it from light kind of into a little bit of dark.
Jordan Simpson checking in at cornerback, number 5 in blue. Matt McIntyre is playing the safety position.
I'm pretty sure, I believe that is Sean Dwyer in there at middle linebacker, as well as probably Drew Ortiz has stepped out of this ball game.
Chris, we've seen a lot of guys this year, such as Rory McGovern, guys like McGovern that we didn't play much, that are getting a lot of action their senior year, as Connor James, nowhere to go, is wrapped up. But then there's guys we've seen that got time their junior year, that are not playing their senior, that are not getting a lot of time their senior year, such as a guy like linebacker Sean Dwyer, fullback Jake Obsgarden. So interesting how it works.
Yeah, I mean, but Westfield has not really utilized the fullback too much this season. When they do, obviously Obsgarden goes in. But yeah, this season running with a 2 tight end set, Obsgarden's not going to have too much opportunity to get in there unless they do go back to a fullback. But also a couple newcomers this year who are sophomores are actually getting in there right now. Number 52, Matt O'Connor, and number 54, Henry Meiselman in at D-line.
Nice run up the middle.
As also number 45 is checking into the game, Casey Shepard
for Jonathan.
For Will Kessler.
Sorry about that, Chris.
Yes, we're going to see a lot of players coming in
Nice gain for Jonathan Taub, the senior. He had that face mask earlier in the ball game. That cost his team 15 yards and eventually a touchdown.
3rd and 5.
3rd and 5 for the Warriors. With 9.5 to go here in the final quarter. 2 receiver set, 2 men in the backfield. Connor James will hand it off to Parker. He's got room using the stiff arm. Finally brought down by Jordan Simpson after Caleb Parker picks up the first down. Parker, he's a physical running back, as we got a nice close-up look at him right there.
Yeah, no, Parker, yeah, I was expecting, I've seen him run the ball, expecting a little more of a speed back, but yeah, he's definitely got a lot of meat to him right there. Kind of running over Simpson out of bounds. But still, this Westfield D-line, they have kept him in check all game. We've seen, not a lot of run, mostly from the quarterback, James, on a scramble, but the passing game, that one play before where Thorne broke free. But again, nothing really happening too much for Watchung.
1st and 10 for the Warriors after the run from Caleb Parker. Taking his time to hand the ball off, and Parker is shoved to the ground. Casey Shepard, the senior, on the tackle.
Yeah.
Number 45.
First tackle of
That might be his first. I know it's his first tackle of the season. Might be.
I'm not sure if it's first varsity, yeah.
First tackle of his career.
Also, number 9 for defense, Corey Kanya has checked into the game at linebacker, and I also believe, I don't believe don't know who the other one is who just came in. Oh, I believe it is number 42, Charlie Riley. So yeah.
2nd and 6.
A lot of new faces in here for this Westfield defense, winning by 28.
For Watchung Hills. James Colin Freer in the backfield and has his first career sack. The sophomore Colin Freer, 3-sport athlete, Princeton lacrosse commit, starting tight end and now playing some defensive end, getting the sack.
Yeah, Mike, 2 big catches earlier, and right there, first varsity sack. Just absolutely unbelievable day for Freer, and I'm pretty sure he can wind up in the post-game interview. But yeah, 3rd and 12 to go here. A lot of new faces out there for this Blue Devil defense. I believe the only remaining starter in right now is Noah Levy. And I believe also Adam McDaniel.
Third and long, high snap, James in pressure, and Colin Freer along with Henry Meiselman on the stop. Meiselman also just a sophomore.
Yeah, but those are some pretty big dudes out there. My Colin Freer coming in at over, 6 foot high. Meiselman too coming in over 6'2". Just a big defensive line unit. I'm pretty sure when Valabera, McGovern, St. Giacomo all leave, these are the guys who are going to be stepping up and filling those shoes.
Emmett Smith, as always, back to receive the punt. He's at the Westfield 20-yard line. Pucio's had a busy day. Colin Freer, believe he got a couple fingertips on that one.
3 straight plays, 3 impressive plays, yeah.
From Puccio. And Westfield will take over from the 40-yard line. And now we'll get to see some second stringers on the offensive side of the football for your Westfield Blue Devils. 6.5 minutes to go here in quarter number 4. Westfield improving to 4-0 on the 2017 campaign, and they extend the winning streak to 29 games. Back in action Friday night at Union as they go for win number 30.
Yeah, Mike, a lot of new players in there this time. We said before, Martini in at tailback. Griffin Rooney in at wide receiver.
And it's Jake Salter in at quarterback.
And Salter, yeah.
The junior was in the quarterback competition heading into camp, along with Shapiro and Valabera, but for the most part, the whole town knew it was Shapiro's job ever since last season ended. And there's Nick Martini, sorry about that, Chris, with the carry, and he took a pop right there, right up on his chest. Big pop. You can hear it all the way up here in the booth.
Yeah, we also got Griffin Aslanian, and I also believe it is Benny Bontempo in at fullback.
So how about Jordan Barham? In first play, quarter number 2, if you missed it, go back to it. It's the first play, quarter number 2, high snap, and the senior Jordan Barham falling on top of the football and setting up perfectly on the very next play, a 10-yard touchdown for Tim Allegro, his 6th of the game.
And also Russell Weber is in at guard, Mike. So, yeah, a lot of new players in for Westfield right now.
Martini with nowhere to go there, wrapped up by Christopher Pagaro, the junior.
Yeah, so it's
and Kessler and the punt unit will have to come out.
Yeah, 4th and about 4 here for Westfield. So, yeah, obvious punting situation. No need to rack up any more points right now with 4:48 to go here in this ball game. So, yeah, Kessler will be back to kick this one away. Booming
beautiful punt from Will Kessler inside the 10, and McDaniel and Bontempo and Freer down it at the 1, I believe.
Barden and McDaniel collided first, but
Barden and McDaniel raced down to down it.
Looks like it is going to be at the 20-yard line. Looks like it did touch a little bit into the end zone, but nevertheless, what a booming kick by Will Kessler.
First and 10 at the 20-yard line.
So, yeah, it is going to be a touchback. And same group that finished the defensive drive last time for Westfield will be back out there to start, along with number 84, Colin Freer, who had 3 very impressive plays back-to-back-to-back, 2 sacks, and I believe a near blocked punt, if not a blocked punt, got a few fingertips on it.
We'll hand it off to Parker, and he is quickly brought down. Senior Sean Dwyer
On the tackle.
making the stop.
No gain on the play. Second and 10.
Yeah, so Sean Dwyer, first tackle of the season. Good to see him out there playing football since the 3rd grade, I believe, all the way up to now. And he's been working hard to be out there on this field, Mike.
Yeah, great stop right there from Sean Dwyer. 3:47 to go. James under pressure, lobs it out. Pass is complete for a first down for Adam Claxton.
And Corey Kanye coming up with a tackle right there, pushing Claxton out of bounds. And 3:37 to go in this ball game.
Junior Corey Kanye making, I believe, his first tackle of his varsity career. But still a fresh set of downs after the first down. Nice grab by Adam Claxton, just a sophomore. Along with the Westfield backups, Chris, we're seeing new faces for the Warriors of Watchung Hills.
Yep.
But Parker still in the game, huffing and puffing his way down for the first down. Caleb Parker racking up his stats. Probably close to around 80 so far in the afternoon.
Even though it's trash time, you know, if you pick up 40, 50 yards in trash time, there's still yards and they still go on your stat sheet. It doesn't say when they were picked up, just says how you, just shows that you got them. And yeah, Parker, a very solid outing here today against Westfield. And right there, he just goes to the middle and gets a very big gain.
Parker again with the carry. And Corey Kanya making another stop.
And Corey Kanya, you
number 9 in blue. 5'8", 185-pound linebacker for Westfield, starting and getting a ton of time at the JV level.
And he bounced off the first blocker and able to wrap up Parker at the end of it. So 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go here left in this game.
2nd and 8 for Watchung Hills. Ball at the 47. Stevens in motion, the sophomore. James will scramble and spinning and brought down near the 49.
And Mike, I'm pretty sure James, he just thinks like if a receiver is not as far down the field as he wanted, because I'm pretty sure he had someone wide open in the flat, but he just thinks that he can scramble with it and get some yardage. And it's just not that. It's just not the situation you want to be in as a quarterback. You want to find your open receiver. That's your first. That's your first choice. You got to find the open receiver. Second choice, obviously, tuck it away and run with it. But when you have an open receiver, you got to let the ball fly. As Mike, another set of brothers is out there, Chris and Matt O'Connor. Chris O'Connor over far side cornerback and Matt O'Connor on the defensive line.
Taking a shot deep, incomplete.
Defended there by Zarnecki.
John Zarnecki, the sophomore, with the coverage. Chris O'Connor, the senior, in his first year playing football since the middle school days. Just recently started playing over the summer after a 3-year layoff. Matt O'Connor, just a sophomore, played freshman last season.
And yeah, Chris O'Connor, you know, Mike, his older brother, won a state ring first year that Westfield ever did win. Mike O'Connor, yeah.
Currently at Syracuse, not playing football. And that's just an inexperienced drop right there from the sophomore, Taryn Stevens. And turnover on downs as things are wrapping up here in Westfield. 35-7. Just 63 ticks remaining. And the second string unit will come out there. Jake Saltzer, the junior at quarterback. Nicky Martini, the sophomore, at halfback. So with 1:03 remaining, we'll wrap things up here on BDTV. Give you our game recap. And Chris, the coming out party for Adam McDaniel at the wide receiver position. We all knew what he was capable of as Martini gets this carry for a few yards. We all knew what he was capable of, and I think the coaching staff realizing it now, because it would just be a shame if we don't see more of Adam McDaniel.
Yeah, Mike, Adam McDaniel, he was just he was on a mission today. He got 3 touchdowns, all receiving, and he did a lot of that last year. He had a couple touchdowns, and this year hoping that can carry over. You know, he didn't play wide receiver at all the first couple games. Saw him a little bit last week, but hopefully he can stay in that wide receiver starting group, along with Stevie Barton as well. 2 touchdowns on the season as well. 1 today. And I'm just hoping those guys stay in there, because those guys are really the catalyst for this offense. not saying, Tim Allegro, who's had an absolutely fantastic past couple of weeks, hasn't been the catalyst. But when you have these guys who are catching 50-yard, 60-yard passes and jumping up and making the big plays and making people excited, you need that to spark excitement on this team.
So Westfield gets the job done. 35-7 your final score. Hank Shapiro, a career afternoon. 4 passing touchdowns. Adam McDaniel, 3 receiving touchdowns. Westfield gets win number 29 in a row, improves to 4-0. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. From our entire crew here at BDTV, our cameraman, Brendan Riccardi, Chris Witzel, I'm Michael Leonard saying so long from Gary Kaler Stadium. Post-game interviews coming right up here on BDTV. Here with Blue Devil postgame as Westfield takes care of Watchung Hills by a final score of 35-7. And we're here with the dynamic duo, the 2 stars of the afternoon. Sophomore QB, Hank Shapiro with a career game, 4 touchdowns. Hank, what's the connection between you and McDaniel and how is it clicking tonight?
I mean, he's a great receiver. I know he's always going to be open. He's super fast. He's great hands. I love throwing him the ball.
And what's the confidence level you build with all of your wide receivers and all your teammates early on in this young season?
My team really is behind me, and it's awesome, and I can't wait to keep going and moving forward, and it's just awesome.
Appreciate it, Hank. Great game. And Adam McDaniel, first time he's really seen a lot of action at the wide receiver position, but he's showing he's probably the best receiver on this football team. 3 touchdowns, making it look easy. How did you have this heck of a performance this afternoon?
Well, my boy Hank, I feel like he's been getting better every game, so I really just trust him to throw me the ball and then trust myself to go get it.
And how confident is this team every single day of the goal of getting back and winning a 3rd consecutive state championship, Adam?
Well, as the season goes on, we get closer and closer, so we get more confident in our team, and we're just ready to go back again.
Appreciate it. Great game. You can catch Adam, Hank, and the rest of the Blue Devils back in action this Friday at Union at 7 o'clock.
I'm here with the defensive playmakers today, Joe Sangiacomo, Jake Val, and Colin Freer, and each had at least 2 sacks today, and I'm going to go one by one talking about how they got the job done today. Joe, how did you participate in defense today?
I was really just anticipating us really just dominating the ball all game. I really didn't expect us to have that many sacks, but we got the job done.
Thank you, Joe. Val, you 3 sacks today in the first half too, led the way. What did you do?
I mean, we knew that the offensive versus defensive line was a mismatch, and we just went one-on-ones, and we just went as hard as we could and got the sacks.
Thank you, Val. And Colin, first game at defensive end. What did you do today?
I mean, Coach said all this week he wanted to put a lot of people in because they were going to pass almost every play, so we just got to the quarterback. And, I mean, we had about 8 sacks, and we got the job done.
And also on the offensive side of the ball, that one-handed catch and that beautiful catch over the middle of the field. What did you do on that one?
I mean, Hank it was a good ball. He led me. It wasn't even a bad ball. I just had to put up my one hand out and get the extra yards.
Shades of Odell from the young tight end. And thank you, Colin. That's it from BDTV. Thank you, everybody.